We're here.
I wish I could get this feeling. I wish I could get this feeling.
What up, everybody? It is Royal Rumble season. The march to WrestleMania starts this weekend. I'm Kel Dansby here with the old man Andreas Hale and producer Cole Baby is calling in, joining us for the Royal Rumble show. It wouldn't be a huge pro wrestling show without producer Cole Baby. Cole, this marks the 1-year anniversary of the Corner Rumble. Cole he took a bump for that to promo it. It was 30 guests, maybe 30 plus guests. We did not watch the Rumble last year very, very well because it was on while we were talking to people. It ended up being horrible, so we missed nothing. Yeah. Perfect timing by producer Cole Baby.
Perfect time. I was like, okay, it's just going to be complete shit. This is going to be all over the place. Let's just do something crazy in the meantime. You know what's crazy about that is with all the guests that were on there, it's crazy to see like where they all are now and where they were when the Corner Rumble happened. Many of them ended up in AEW. Some of them ended up back in WWE. Just a wild event. And, obviously we won't be doing it this year, but, never say never. It could come back just when you least expect it. And when least expected, I mean another Royal Rumble, because that's the only time you can do a Corner Rumble is a Royal Rumble event. But I digress. That was a good time. The first of many bumps I would take in the Blue Wire studio.
Yes. You can't count out another Corner Rumble. You cannot count out the return of the DCs while we're at it.
Oh, no, we can count that shit out.
It's gone.
They ain't coming back.
Cole, we're going to make another bet?
It's
like pro wrestling.
Mm-mm.
Is anyone ever really gone?
No, your DCs are dead, sir. We're not booking those to come back.
I said, man, I don't know. Randy Orton said flame to Sister Abigail. I saw her after that.
Those are DCs. They don't come back. There's no return.
It's going to be a better Royal Rumble. I don't know how it couldn't be. It's going to be Tripp's first Royal Rumble, possibly his only. Who knows? But I hate the ratings. But the ratings came out today, and WWE is up across the board, year over year, quarter after quarter. It's like, why rock the boat, Vince? You want money? The guy is making you money. Yeah. Let him rock.
None of that stuff matters.
And I'm okay.
He wants control.
Oh, that's fine. If you want to book, say Vince's puppet master in the background. If you want to book the WrestleMania main event program every year, do what the hell you want. Let him book everything else because you sucked at everything else. If you want to control who is your guy with your belt, have at it, man. If you want Roman Reigns to have this shit for another 15 years, if you want to book those programs, because in the grand scheme of things, he did okay with the main program every year. It was the shit underneath it that was horrible.
No, he didn't.
Outside of Roman, Triple H.
Keep going. There's plenty of bad WrestleMania main events. There's plenty of them.
I mean, they all featured Roman Reigns.
I mean, we had like Triple H in like 10,000 of them. John Cena was in like 10,000 of them. There were people that we wanted to see go over that did.
Daniel Bryan one was good.
Yeah, but
Seth Rollins one was good.
You had to revolt in order to get that.
Semantics.
Man,
he
that's
ended
not
up getting there.
Look, we got once in a lifetime twice.
We did.
Come on, man. Like
greatest match of all time, the greatest thing that will stop the cosmos.
It's just
somehow Shane was the best wrestler in the world.
Look, man,
I
don't need Vince booking anything.
No, I mean, it's his company, man. Yeah, hopefully he stays away. But if this is Tripp's one and only, I'm sure he's going to make sure this counts. So we'll see what he does with this. He has a lot of the tools back in the toolbox from his NXT people. Always the capability to sign more. We can get new people into the Rumble that we haven't even seen before. His biggest problem is going to limit it to 30 spots.
Well, here's a real question before we start. What would you, and you can't grade against what Vince is doing, what would you grade Triple H's tenure thus far?
That's not fair. You got to grade from where it was.
You can, but that...
Like Brian Daboll's Coach of the Year in the NFL. It's because the Giants were really shitty the year before, right?
Know,
like the turnaround counts.
But the turnaround does count because the booking was in the gutter.
Yes.
But that would automatically make it an A.
Yes.
Right? I don't think...
Nah, on the stand alone, I'd say I give Trips a good B plus. Some of the people he brought back, I just feel like they don't really have spots yet. So some like Gargano really didn't hit yet. That could be because Ciampa's injury, though. We don't know where that
Gargano's
was
hurt too.
Gargano's hurt. Like, there's some stuff you really can't control. And bringing some people back, like the chick with the shiniest wizard. I don't know where she went. Tegan Knox. She's kind of just like out of here. She'll probably be in the Rumble. But some people just have no plans yet. And he brought them back just because they were ex-NXT people. And I feel like he has a grand vision, but kind of rushed it, bringing everyone back. Outside of that, though, the mid-card's gotten exponentially better. Gunther is incredible. They fixed Austin Theory, even though they got there in a horrible way. This is where he should have always been. Rollins still looks like $1 million, even though he's on the mid-card. Bobby Lashley's about to get the Hurt Business back together. Another mid-card.
Is he?
I think. I'm enjoying the tease.
I mean, all right.
If anything, like that's good. He's relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment Day, I thought that was shit. I'm proven wrong. Rhea Ripley is like the best thing outside of the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So Rhea's great. You have another women's star. Bianca's been protected. They didn't strip her and make her shitty run like before. He fixed the Ronda problem. He recognized when shit's going stale. Vince would have let Ronda rock Mania and beyond.
Probably.
Charlotte Ronda 100% would have been a Mania match. He wasn't wasting that and pulling it earlier. So we would have just been tortured. I think he's done good. B+. Some of the returns have been weird, but outside of that, I think it's good. I think he has to rebuild his tag division. I don't think there's enough emphasis on that right now. Those belts are still held up, so maybe when they split, we'll see how that goes. But I think you're pushing the Viking Raiders. You got to get them into a title program. You got to figure out what you're doing with the Street Profits. American Academy or Alpha Academy, great. They should be in a title program. So you need to split those belts and kind of maneuver the tag division. But that's like the last frontier. Did well by the women, well by the mid-card. I mean, Ricochet's wrestling every other week on TV. I'm a happy guy.
Wow, it's a low bar. I think it's a B. Like I said, the new car center is off, so some of the things are regressing a bit. It's solid. It's very bloodline heavy, which is fine because the bloodline is like the best story on television. The mid card, like you mentioned, the IC and US titles are very well handled. But I feel like he's running into an issue of this is a lot of television to book.
Ton.
And there's some things that they're just not working. I'm glad they turned Hit Row heel because it wasn't working.
Nope.
Like you mentioned, some of the returns aren't working. They haven't been working. I mean, even a lot of stuff that's associated with The Miz is really bad.
It got really weird fast. People kept getting injured.
Yeah, but I don't know. The Miz stuff is, I don't know what, it's just not good.
Yeah.
I told you I hate Charlotte as a babyface champion. I absolutely hate it.
I got to change quick.
It has to, but it's not, right?
Good.
I don't think so. Like, Charlotte has leverage backstage. It's very obvious.
Yeah, I think as long as she's champion, I don't think she cares if she's a babyface or a heel.
She don't care, but I do. I think she, like, just like Seth Rollins is a bad babyface.
Yeah, she's not the greatest.
She's not a good babyface.
No.
But they still have a women's division problem. SmackDown's women's division is weak.
Yes, they have half of a women's division
Like,
problem.
and, yes, they got the title off of Ronda, but I think Liv Morgan's still going nowhere fast. Like, I think she's been handled all wrong. Where's Shotzi?
I don't know. I need to see Shotzi. Raquel,
I'm over it. Turn her heel, do something. I feel like the whole SmackDown's women's division is bad.
Yeah.
Raw's good. Like you mentioned, Bianca is very well handled. The Becky Bailey stuff is good. Even though the Raw 30th anniversary was very strange how they handled that.
A little weird. We'll talk about Raw.
But I think Triple H he's doing well. But he's realizing, 1 hour versus 5 hours, very different. And not everything is great. I know a lot of people like, he's the best booker ever. And I'm like, he's good. He's better than Vince.
I don't think that's a job where you can bat 1,000.
No, it's impossible to bat 1,000. Like nobody's gonna bat 1,000.
No.
But he's doing better.
Yeah. You gotta recognize and pivot, like Tony does.
Yeah, well, Tony does a great job. Dude, Tony's been through hell this year. And we'll talk about that as we go through this AEW. Like, we talked about this last year between injuries. Now we just had the recent Jay Briscoe passing. Like, it's been madness over there. And he's found out it's like a crash course in booking.
Yeah.
And
there's still stuff to be desired, but at least he pivots.
Yeah.
If some shit's not working, He'll figure it out.
But the problem, like, Tony Khan learned what Vince has been doing for years. As much as we don't. As much as we don't like Vince McMahon, the one thing we can always know is, like, you realize how hard it is to book weekly television because you can't predict what's going to happen one week to the next. Somebody gets sick, somebody gets COVID, somebody breaks something. Anything can happen and cause you to wreck and redo your whole show.
Yes.
Problem with Vince is he just took that mentality and did it every week.
Yeah, but a cupcake at a podium, correct? Like 3 months worth of television, man.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So I give it a B. I'm a little curious about this Royal Rumble based on the booking because there's not a lot of mystery to who can win both of these Royal Rumbles. And we'll talk about that in a bit. And I think we're going to learn a lot about where Triple H goes and how, if he pivots, depending on how Royal Rumble ends. Because the ending to everybody was very obvious 3 months ago.
Yep.
But now people are like, is it that obvious? I think there's another direction we can go. I'm very curious what Hunter does based on the fan response versus what I'm sure they thought they were going to do from the beginning.
Definitely.
Cole, what do you give Triple H as a booker?
Yeah, I think right around the same grade that you guys are given. I think you do have, like, absolutely going into his grade is where it was before and what he's done since, as far as kind of repairing the ground that was kind of just a complete mess. And I think there is a willingness there's an understanding now between WWE and the fans again, where it's not just like whatever Vince wants. And if Vince wakes up one day and decides the day of the pay-per-view, I want it to go this way, that shit's not happening anymore, or if it is, it's a little bit more stealthy and a little bit more handled like we're not children and not idiots. So I think having that kind of transparency is so helpful, and has really helped him a lot. I do think the new car smell has definitely come off of Triple H. I think early on, the bar was literally at the Earth's core. Like, he could do no wrong. He just had to not be Vince. Now he's been in the seat for a little bit. Now fans are going, okay, let's see where you're taking these pieces that you're repairing, these pieces that you're bringing in, and let's see what you can do with them. The bloodline is excellent. The mid card's really good. Bianca's had some of her best feuds, I think, in this stretch. I agree. I think the SmackDown Women's Division is an issue that still needs to be resolved. But I think I give the a B grade for Triple H here. But I think we've all had this circled. I think this is, it's 2023. Royal Rumble is where we start Mania season. This is the test. This is really where we see Triple H's vision. I think you can take those last few months that he's been booking as him kind of laying the groundwork for this Mania run. And again, the bar's really low because the Mania run last year, we saw the Royal Rumble, wasn't good. Things went off the rails so fast. This is the time to see, like, okay, what has Triple H really got in mind for a WrestleMania event? And it starts here. So this is the most intriguing time of year, as it always is in wrestling. But especially now, we're really going to be able to have a better idea of what kind of grade and how we feel about Triple H's booking throughout this WrestleMania season.
So that's what's crazy, right? Like, he had a last-second SummerSlam booking.
Yep.
And that's really it. Like, Survivor Series was cool, but I'm not sure if that's like a core four anymore. Like, it is more Money in the Bank now.
It's trying to turn it back into a core four.
Trying. But, like, the key stretch is Royal Rumble, Mania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam. Everything outside of that is house money. You can kind of book it however you want. So now is when he has a B already. He could turn that B into a C or a D. Shit goes left. He could turn that B into an A if he does right by this. So before we continue on, we'll talk Raw 30 real quick before we get into the Rumble predictions and everything. But this past week, AEW, tribute to Jay Briscoe. The tribute package itself was great.
Yeah.
Great job putting everything together. Tony, however it went down, I guess we'll find out in the summer when he's here on the desk again. But him fighting to get the Briscoes on television, Mark Briscoe, all this, is great. I think he did right by his core fan base, which is an indie fan base. He's now the owner of ROH. You cannot ignore that. They meant a lot to that company. And I think the way he handled it, and you can never prepare for these things, it's horribly unfortunate. The way he handled it was done right. I mean, he hasn't missed in any of these situations. He doesn't have a Vince Owen Hart moment.
No.
Right? Like there's the Brody situation, being able to keep that under wraps, respect to the family, how it was handled after Brody passed away, Brody's son being involved. Now the Briscoe situation. He's proven, regardless of what he is as a booker, as the person who runs that company, he's very high strung, all that stuff. He's proven to be a good person. I'm not sure we can say the same about Vince McMahon because we can't. I mean, some people would, we wouldn't.
We can't.
But I don't think we have those qualms with Tony. There's stuff that he does right. There's stuff that he does wrong. He might be too friendly with his kid. But at the end of the day, if you're a good person, we figure the rest out. And sometimes it's just easier to work for a good person.
Yeah. I mean, Tony Khan seems like somebody that people would like to work for. I feel like there's two different worlds with AEW and WWE, where WWE is not, it's the corporate structure, but it's like the Vince and everybody else structure, and it's the boys club, and it's very old school when Vince was there. It was a very old school mentality. Even when you talk about Raw 30, you know, there's the Bellas, talking about the lack of recognition that went to the Bellas and the women's revolution in their package. It's a byproduct of the Vince era, right? Mm-hmm. It was the good boys club. It was wrestling that was built on stereotypes. It was, we didn't have a black champion until 2019. I'm not counting The Rock. Until Kofi. It was, women didn't have a real division until the 2010s. All that history made WWE a very different situation. It was like an uphill battle for like minorities in general. Whereas Tony Khan, funnily enough, remember when it first started, all elite whites. But now, like you look up and down the card, there's minorities everywhere. I mean, it's a different company, for better or worse. It's kind of like how society has changed, like WWE's old mentality. And old mentality still works in some instances. Whereas AEW is very PC, right? To a point where you could see like somebody like The Undertaker would probably look at AEW's locker room and like, look at these snowflakes, right? And it could be taken derogatory or not. Depending on how you are as a business person, friends don't always work well in business. Vince did well because he was so cutthroat. I mean, shit, bought the company from his dad and ate all the regions like Pac-Man. Mm-hmm. Just disrespected everybody that his dad was friends with. But it worked. It's good business. But going back to this Jay Briscoe situation, I mean, yeah, unexpected death. Fought like hell, clearly, because the Briscoes weren't supposed to be on television, according to Warner. And you main event with Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. One, somebody's got to tell me how Mark Briscoe worked this match. I know people grieve differently. And sometimes it's best to go to work to get your mind off of it.
Bury yourself in the work, right?
But Jay Lethal could barely keep it together. And I said this on Twitter. It's like, yeah, you can, the finishes are predetermined, but the emotions that elicit out of people, these people give up their bodies to entertain us. And they lost a brother because pro wrestling is a frat like no other. There is no other industry where, I always call it violent ballet because you know you're going to get hurt. Like the end result is getting hurt. Whereas like the Hamlin situation in Buffalo was completely unexpected. Yeah, you bang pads together, but the finishes aren't predetermined. Like this is acting with real stuntmen, stunt women, and real violence, and people die, and people get hurt, and things happen. And watching this frat come together for a fallen soldier, one of theirs, and have a match in his honor with his brother, and the crowd cheering the way they cheer, and like people who had tears in the crowd, it's a different environment. And you can do nothing but give kudos to Tony Khan for that, because he didn't have to. He could have just ran the video package and been done with it. But these two wanted to have a match, and he was like, cool, sure. Whatever my plans are this week don't even matter.
Yep.
And I think that's the best thing you can do in pro wrestling, because those emotions are real. Like, the fans cheer are real, and if you looked on social media after that match, everybody was up in arms. Now, it ends with Mark Briscoe standing there, and then it goes to the Power Slapper League. I said, you motherfucker. Like, what is wrong with y'all? I don't need the Power Slap League after this. I felt so disrespected. I was like,
They
what?
like doubled the ratings for Power Slap League, by the way.
Yeah, because it was a great
That
lead.
lead-in.
Everybody looked and it should be like, thank you, dead man. And Dana White's over here getting people CT unprotected.
People still crying and shit. They don't know where the remote is.
Nah, where's the remote? Just seeing as people get smacked upside the head, defenseless. We will talk about how Power Slap League is like the worst thing I've ever seen next week. But as AEW being a lead into that, and I'm sure Dana was like on fucking Fridays, like, we won. You didn't win, bro. Like that, I did not need to see that. But I thought it was a tremendous match, tremendous show. And then Dynamite as a whole was a good show.
It was. It continues to be a good show. Cole, before I guess I talk about my feelings on Dynamite. Cole, what did you think of the tribute and the adjoining match?
Yeah, just all the props to Mark Briscoe. I mean, him coming out, I think everybody was waiting to see, like, obviously see that match, but see this guy come out. Just, I mean, it's been a week since his brother's passing, and for him to come out with the strength that he did. I mean, if you were watching and had no idea what was going on, you wouldn't have known anything different. He came out with the 2 belts and he looked like he was raring to go. I think the moment of the match for me was obviously Jay Lethal was having such a tough time keeping it together, and props to Jay Lethal for being in that spot. And obviously that was something that both men requested, to have this match together. But for him to do that and to pull through his emotions deserves all the kudos in the world. And I think my favorite moment was, even in those first couple minutes, he was still like he was still crying and bawling, and he gets thrown in the corner, and Briscoe slaps him and kind of like brings him back into like wrestling mode. It's like, and he's like, I want to go. You want to go? And Jay's like, I want to go. Let's do it. And it just kind of, took the match into the next gear, and was like, okay, this is a wrestling match. It's on. It's the beauty of I mean, any kind of performance art, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's art, and it provides an escape for people. And again, everyone goes through grieving different, and it's just a credit to Mark Briscoe and his strength to get through that. Is unbelievable. And yeah, again, like anyone who's worked in television or anything like that, there's so much political bullshit that goes on backstage of why someone can or cannot be on television, or why this goes this way or this works another way. Tony could have stopped it at, we did the Ring of Honor show untaped. We did it. We're putting it up on YouTube later. He could have stopped there. He could have stopped at showing a picture of him, but he fought for this. And if there's anything you can say about Tony Khan, is that there is an authenticity about him that we definitely didn't see in the Vince era. Vince was Mr. Man his entire tenure. The character was real to life. At the end of the day, Tony has, when push has come to shove in many of these moments, he's shown a human element to it. We even going back to Regal wanting to, get out of his contract and go and work with his son back in WWE, and being understanding of all those things. So yeah, kudos to Tony Khan. Kudos to that entire production. It was unbelievably well done. And like you guys said, it was also a very good Dynamite episode wrapped all around it. And yeah, there's just, it's hard, really hard to come up with words. I was shocked with like even like trying to like tweet like how I was feeling about watching that match. And it was just like, there's just no words. Like, it's one of those moments you'll never forget.
And we have to say, it was Jay Briscoe's birthday.
Yes. Mark's birthday was like
the day
before.
after Jay died was Mark's birthday. Like, this is the most harrowing week that you can imagine for that entire family. And, this while his nieces are still in the hospital, while Mark's nieces are still in the hospital. We call it performance art. With the Hamlin situation in Buffalo, like they still play the game and you're still playing for somebody, but this is choreographed, right? And it's like live television keeping it together. In football, at least you have helmets on. Like, these guys are naked to the world, and they have to work this match and be violent with each other, even though they love each other. It's crazy to see that. And it's one thing, like, when people talk about wrestling's fake, I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. Wrestling's amazing.
No, yeah, it's as real as anything else. On a pure Dynamite side of things, I've been somewhat critical of like they just keep rolling random people in to Dynamite. They do it a lot. Like Tony does it a lot without explanation. I'll give them credit. I think they found a way to do it that at least makes sense to what I would assume would be a casual viewer. I know Timothy Thatcher. Like, it is what it is. I love his wrestling style. Him and Danielson are going to have a banger. But they're rolling in multiple people for Danielson. But they're making it make sense through the feud with MJF. There's multiple people to weaken Danielson. Smart. Darby Allin can wrestle someone different every week because it's an open challenge. He has the little notebook. He's damn near trying to kill himself, I think is the point of this.
Yeah.
So, like, he's trying to take on the most dangerous people every week. It makes sense without me having to know anything about the other people you bring in. Oh, Darby Allin wants the most dangerous challenges. Whoever challenges him is super dangerous right now. There goes the story.
Yeah.
I don't got to know anything where they came from, what promotion. Same thing, Bryan Danielson. The guy comes from Japan, comes from here. I don't need to know too much about him because I know the story is between Danielson and MJF.
Yeah.
They're making the randomness make sense.
Yeah.
I am happy that they're going that way. Like, finally, because Tony for a long time just be throwing shit at the wall. Cool, just put it in the midst of the program, and I'm cool. He found a good way of doing that. So I got to give him kudos if I give, criticism when he does it wrong. I think he found like a good way to mix that in. I like the women's division right now. You're only as good as your champion. I think Hayter is proving to be a pretty good champion. I don't even care that her and Britt Baker really haven't settled shit or that didn't go anywhere. I don't care. It'll happen eventually.
Yeah.
Fresh matchups for her. It got stale before with people. Everything's fresh for her. She can wrestle her ass off. I think they're figuring out a lot of stuff. Bucks are back wrestling every week. Tag division's cool. No complaints with AEW right now.
No, I feel like they're doing really well. There are certain things that the most recent episode of Rampage was very confusing, and I'll give Tony a slight pass because the Briscoe situation.
Yes,
but the Eddie Kingston turn when people were like all in my mentions like, well, it's been happening for months. I was like, look, man, Eddie Kingston is one of your most over people in the company. If an attack on Ortiz is to happen, it should happen on Dynamite. In a bigger situation, it should feel more significant than what it was. And don't tell me I need to watch Dark and Elevation to figure out Eddie Kingston. You could tell me that about any other wrestler. But Eddie Kingston is a fan favorite. I think that booking has been very strange. Because it hasn't happened on television. Like, it kind of has. And people, Eddie Kingston's descent into madness. I was like, okay, I get it to a degree. But for it to happen on Rampage, The other thing was, I didn't know tag team matches counted towards Jay's record. I didn't know this.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Jay Cargill wins a tag match and goes, she's undefeated, 49-0. I was like, wait, hold on, what? I didn't know. Those were singles.
Yeah.
Very weird stuff. But for the most part, I think AEW has been rolling in a way that Takesha's been presented well. You mentioned Thatcher, Darby and Joe are about to have their match. The Ricky Starks stuff got weird for a second.
I feel like I was intrigued this Wednesday.
This Wednesday, I felt like
they
got
brought it back.
Yeah, they got it back on course because I was like, it was starting to go off the rails a little bit.
I feel like they're fixing it.
Yeah, but I think they're in a good spot, and as they're marching towards Revolution, which is about 5 weeks away now, 5-6 weeks away.
Damn, still that long?
Yeah. They have so much space in between their pay-per-views, and it was weird because like last summer you had like Forbidden Door, there was like one after another in Ring of Honor. Now it's like it's just a big gap.
Yeah.
So they're doing well with weekly television. I think MJF is great that he doesn't wrestle every week. I like this. I like what they're doing with it. I feel like AEW as a whole is on solid ground. They still have a Rampage problem. It could be the time. They got to figure it out.
I don't watch Rampage live.
You don't
so
have
it
to.
doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's not like destination television. Like Dynamite is. I mute our group chat because sometimes I start late and I don't want y'all because y'all talk too damn much
all the time.
And I'm like, God damn it, you spoiled it for me. And I like surprise. I don't like things spoiled for me. Dynamite is like appointment viewing. Rampage is like, I'll watch it Saturday morning.
Yeah, I watch Rampage sometimes before the show, like the night before the show. I'll catch that shit 5 days later. It doesn't even matter.
In WWE, on the other hand, which as we talk about Royal Rumble, NXT is like cram television for me. Like I won't watch for weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I catch up on that whenever. Nikita Lyons just got injured though.
Again?
Yes, she tore ACL.
It's on her.
Yeah,
I don't know what
I'm
to
not
say,
sure if
like-
that's ever gonna work out.
Yeah.
She's not a great wrestler.
No, she's not.
She's just very thick.
They just keep trotting her ass out there.
I get, trotting she does. It is it's quite a sight to behold.
Viewership goes up when she goes out there. It's weird. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
Making money, Cole. That's all they're here for. Making
You
money.
know what it is.
But before we get into Rumble, Raw 30, Raw XXX, call it by its
With a
correct
VHS
name.
tape.
That's
I was like, this is raw porn. This is
they
Pornhub.
know what they're doing.
Get
Yeah,
it?
they knew.
Get
yeah,
it? Get the joke? Get it?
they'd be
Yeah.
like, "This is how we used to watch, kids. Learn something."
Sure did.
Yeah, just-
I know
yeah.
all about that.
Oh my God, that was horrible. Nothing. No, and a quick aside, nothing is worse than having to watch VHS porn as a child.
Oh, God, you had to fast forward through it?
One, you always had to sneak and remember where to rewind it,
Yeah,
so
stop
you
it.
wouldn't get
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah,
Not
pops,
like I had my own porn.
your pops pulled up and be like, hey,
Hey, well, this is a completely different spot than where I left it. You couldn't do that.
he wasn't
So-
eating ass in this scene. Dre! Oh, shit.
So you gotta not
Roll it back,
only
roll it back.
watch.
They're just in an office. They're just having a meeting. They're just having a
Oh, my
meeting.
God.
That's all it is.
So you gotta rewind it. You gotta hide it back to where it was.
Boy, and them big ass tapes, like, you got to be a certain age to know this right. Them VHS tapes, because they were double X and they were triple X. And my pops used to get like the double X ones. And I go in the closet to get something and they just like fall off the shelf on me.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, and the box was huge.
Ginormous.
I was like, why is this box so big?
Ass was real life.
Like between that and when you used to go to like Blockbuster, no, not even Blockbuster, Video Time in Vegas. It was Video Time. And like, I think Hollywood Video used to have a porn section. It was behind a curtain.
Yeah.
You used to go behind the curtain and it was like, oh, and you walk in, you're like, oh shit. But it wasn't all that fetish porn that you see today.
Nah.
It was like bone, interracial. All right, which one you want? And it's like, all right, cool. Now,
Fam, you had like 3 options. It was
Yeah.
like network television
yeah, it was like,
of porn. Like you had 3 options. We ain't getting fancy. I don't care what you like. You better like this, or that.
and you knew it, and it was weird. I don't want to get too much off the beat, but you knew everybody's name back then.
Yeah, those real stars.
Like Jake Steed.
yeah, it's
For
not.
anybody remember Jake Steed?
It's not OnlyFans people or everybody getting butt
Nah.
booty naked.
I was,
It was like 7 people
yeah.
in constant rotation on these big ass boxes.
They were stars in their own right. I always say Jake Steed because Jake Steed ended up on the Chronic 2001. And it was like, when I heard that, like, me and my wife both, we were like, is that Jake Steed? Jake Steed had cocaine on his intros. I'm going to go too far down the rabbit hole of Jake Steed porn. But Jake Steed porn had cocaine, the singer, on doing the intro. And it was like Freaks, Hoes, and Flows. And it was like 38 volumes of this shit.
The volumes, kids will never understand.
Nah, they have no idea. What's a volume?
Fam, do you understand how many viruses I caught on LimeWire trying to download Booty Talk number 29?
Not booty talk.
Volume 29. Man, if you know, you know. Like Napster and LimeWire, Booty Talk, volume 29.
Booty talk.
Yo,
They were not very creative with the names.
no,
either.
no, but we take you in a time machine.
Yeah, it was Mr. Marcus's neighborhood. It was booty
And
talk.
you had to really sit through that that 2 meg download speed.
Yeah.
So like
Wow.
you're going like, all right, just gotta hide out for a couple hours. So just no one's
That's
gotta
it.
know that this is being downloaded. Come
Mom's
on now.
wondering why there's no phone calls coming through the crib.
Yeah,
Like,
nothing's working.
no-
Why is the
nobody's
internet slow?
calling.
I don't know.
Don't you interrupt my America Online so I can finish downloading this? Look, last thing, because this goes to Raw 30. I remember the first time I like found one of them tapes and like put it on. It was like Heather Hunter and Ron Jeremy,
Oh,
and I was so confused. Like as a kid, I was
the
like,
pairing is so odd.
she's so small and he's so big and hairy. And then I met him at the porn convention. I met Ron Jeremy, and I was like, this is the first porn star I ever saw. He was like, that's awkward. And I was like, yep.
Shout out to Heather Hunter, though. She still looks pretty good.
Heather Hunter? Yeah, Heather Hunter was
Legend.
yeah, Heather.
I don't, Hall of Famer.
Oh boy.
To bring this back to wrestling, how mind-blowing is it that in the 90s, like your favorite WWE like women stars were butt-ass naked in Playboys?
Oh yeah, Sable.
Like like I couldn't imagine going and you can't pick up a Playboy anymore. I don't think they print anything, do they? But like going to like a Playboy website and it's just like Charlotte, Sasha Banks, like just
Yeah.
willy-nilly with the,
Yeah.
oh yeah, China, rest in peace. But like, I couldn't imagine like today's star. Do you know how much they would sell if they allowed Liv Morgan to do that? They just fired a woman for doing the equivalent. They used to send their stars over there. The Sable cover, I remember being like the craziest shit ever.
Yeah, I mean, Vince was a horny man.
He is.
Like,
He
listen,
is. He wasn't. He is.
Like, I
to
was
this day.
I was watching Royal Rumble 2000, I want to say, and they had the bikini contest with Lula Vachon and Ivory, and like you could tell who really didn't want to be there.
Fam, Ivory was stacked. Though.
Yep.
I just saw that not too long.
But Ivory, like her and Luna came out, and you could tell like they wanted to wrestle. They didn't want to have nothing to do with this. And Jacqueline, who liked to wrestle, Jacqueline had like they were just too big, right?
Yeah.
And Jacqueline pulled up and had like the string thong on, and I remember watching it, and I was like, why didn't she win? And I was like, oh, this is Vince's vision, like the cat one, and I was like,
Oh, that's why.
the cat, like the King's ex.
Yeah.
I was like, why would she win? And it was Melina was in it too, and I was like, wait a second, who's cheering? And then it was
God
like,
bless Melina.
it was weird, but you could tell like Vince was a horn dog, and he was trying to slut him out to Playboy, like Tori Wilson, like,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Like, well, Stacey Keebler ended up she ended up with George Clooney.
Yeah,
And was
she
like,
won.
forget about it.
Yeah.
Like she won, but
I get it for Clooney. I get it.
yeah,
Like
like
you
Vince,
look at Stacey Keebler, it's like
it was like, hey man, like Vince is like, I don't want y'all to wrestle. I want you to be whores.
Vince was on some other shit.
What a time.
Yeah. So Raw
Raw
30.
30.
Now we got now we got Mattel deals that we got to honor,
Yeah.
and now we just no more OnlyFans for anybody.
Yeah, man. But you can still put XXX on a
Triple X.
promo for something of your company.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Everything's made up. The points don't matter.
No.
Whose line is it anyway?
So Raw XXX this past week, one of the best first hours of Raw. I think the ratings reflected it. It did like stupid numbers. In years.
Hogan's mic cutting off was perfect.
Incredible. That's why I knew shit's about to be fire.
Yeah.
They started with Hulk Hogan. I was like, fuck, man, they're parading Hogan out here. His music messing up. His mic got cut. I was like, you know what? Whoever's back in production,
Good job.
you the real MVP.
I don't like poor Jimmy Hart. Like he came out there, he had nothing to do. He's like, hey, and Hogan's they got him a new mic, and Jimmy like left. And I was like, they paid you for that?
Oh, rolling in the dough.
Well, it was a good first because listen, before we talk about the Bloodline People's Court, which is incredible. What an incredible segment.
Yeah.
I saw some people like didn't like it. I love the DX Kurt Angle segment. I thought it was
It's hilarious.
I thought it was fantastic.
Them not mentioning anything and just rolling like it was normal. Like, because everyone clearly knows, like, yo, this should be Billy Gunn.
Right.
He can't be here because AEW. And instead of just going out there by themselves like they did last time, like, yo, we're just going to troll and throw Kurt in there and act like nothing's wrong. It's so, like, meta. It's like, it's just great humor. It's like the shit you and Cole watch from the UK,
Yeah.
where it's just, it's the original Office, where you just stare in the camera, you be like, you know, like, this shit's funny. It's one of those things, and they played it perfectly. Them being old and Trish being like, I'm retired, walking away from Gunther.
Oh.
Like, it was a great segment.
I think Triple H's timing and sense of humor is underrated. He is really good at being like nailing things when it's supposed. I'll never forget. There was a match that like Big Show had challenged him. This was like 2001 when Triple H was like full on heel, and Big Show came out pissed off, like just pissing vinegar and yelling. And Triple H came and was like, "I'd love to challenge you, but no," and just left. And I was like, it was great. Like he has a tremendous personality, and it's the reason why DX worked for a lot of those years because he is legitimately funny.
Very few things are funnier than him asking Kofi Kingston what happened to his accent.
Oh my god!
Like just calling him out mid promo that the Jamaican accent was gone. Yo, that shit pops me every single time.
Hunter's great. That whole segment with that like and Gunther coming out with
It worked. It led to the match.
and they didn't have to hit their finishers on everybody and make anybody like dickheads like they did with the Revival that year. Like
Shout out to Waltman.
yeah, they
It
didn't
was
have
like,
to do that.
oh, the only thing missing was me hitting the finisher on a guy who has to go out there and make money next week. It's like, yo.
Good shit. Good shit. Like this Raw 30, that stuff, that first hour was great. And Kurt
Yes.
Angle, I mean, come on. Who knew when he first signed with WWF in like, what was it, 97?
Yep.
Who knew that he would be this funny? And
I thought he was gonna go full perk angle though.
oh,
He looked ripped.
yeah,
I thought he was ready for the Gunther smoke.
He cannot do that. Oh God,
He'll
Kurt,
kill himself.
Don't save yourself.
and you know he
please.
thinks about it all the time. I got one more left in me.
I-
I know he looks
no,
at
I
all
promise
this.
you, he looked at Gunther and was like, "We got one more.
Yep.
Like Mania, we can do it."
Gunther would chop him. He just turned to dust.
I would love to see it.
Actually, Kurt
he would just like crumble in place.
Well,
like it would be like ragdoll physics, just
Cole,
crumble.
He turned to milk. Let's be honest. So Kurt Angle would turn to
Fair.
Yes.
Great point. Great point.
Listen, he's a man of fine taste. He understands the
come on.
classiness of a well-placed glass of milk.
No, stop.
But no, that first out was great. Bloodline stuff was great. I don't know what they had planned before for like the, tribal chief ceremony or whatever. But this was an amazing pivot. Jay is incredible.
This is so good.
Solo just being the hired hand. Solo don't give a fuck.
He's the best.
No questions asked.
Mando smile for nothing.
Nothing.
He doesn't look interested. He doesn't look disinterested.
Zero until Roman gives him the word.
Yep.
That's all he's waiting for. Arms crossed, chilling. Roman gives him the word. It's on site.
It's Mo and Spike.
There's something to be said for like the bloodline had already like hit this level that I want to say it was right around the last Mania that we were all talking about, Roman Reigns, the bloodline, where does it rank as far as factions go? Where's this reign? Where does Roman Reigns reign as champion? Ranks in, the plethoras of WWE history. And having like the bloodline, we all thought we saw peak, and the additions of Sami Zayn and especially Solo Sikoa, where Solo Sikoa, like you guys are saying, he plays that role so perfectly where he is just the muscle. Roman Reigns needs someone to do his dirty work. And Jay and Jimmy, like they got their own thing going on. It couldn't just be them. The additions of Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa to this faction has it breathed new life into it, and it was something going from like this top level of like you can't get any better than that, and it was like, oh really? Watch, check this out, and oh my god, and Jay coming to the defense of Sami, and Sami's like face that whole time was like it was gripping.
Yeah.
It was gripping television. It was some Succession shit. It was amazing. These guys are putting like the second they come on the screen, it's just like, what's gonna happen? And we all think we know what's gonna happen, but like the way that they're delivering it is so goddamn good. And it leaves us going like, okay, we feel like we know where we're going, but like, how do we get there? And they keep making those steps so interesting. And as part of what makes Saturday so interesting, what is the final test?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, well, hold on. The other great part of this is Paul Heyman basically referencing ECW through his promo.
Yep.
Guilty as charged. I was like, you son of a bitch. Paul Heyman, he's also great. The way he was going at Sami and the way Sami would look at him. And look, man, every time I see Roman in this role, I was like, and I think about The Rock and Roman at Royal Rumble, and I was like, boy, y'all knew you had this the day after Roman beat The Undertaker, and he just sat there in silence, just let himself get booed.
Yep.
And was like, it's my yard now, and they refused to turn him heel. Like, this dude is tremendous.
Incredible.
Wise man.
Incredible.
And everyone, the pop he gets, and it's crazy for being a uber mega heel. Such a great catchphrase. Easy. City's name, pause, acknowledge me, and everyone goes crazy.
It's nuts.
Crazy. And it's just, oh my God, it's so good. Everything's so well done.
Hey, let's be real. This heel turn has turned his acting career into something now. Like, before I was like, I don't know what he's going to do after he wrestles. Now, I guarantee you he's going to be an action star. He'll follow in the footsteps of Cena and The Rock and everybody else. When he's done wrestling and Batista, he'll carry on with the wrestling because he's good at this shit.
The only thing I'll say, I swear, like the music loop is like a minute and a half, and he takes about 8 years to get to the ring, and we just hear that same music loop, that minute and a half loop, and it's like there's no lyrics, there's nothing to go along with it. I'm like, can we get this man a new song or something, just like something with a little bit like to help us out? Cause just like, especially those long ramps.
I love it.
It's like Undertaker.
The keys. Ding, 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 ding,
Oh
ding,
man.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Like, yo, that shit's so dope. It's
lit.
everything about the presentation. Roman Reigns is great. And we had the tag match, which we'll talk, but Sami stepping in, helping Jay retain the titles. This, and I've been saying this from start, yes, people want to see Sami Zayn win the Rumble. We'll give our predictions. all that good stuff. But it comes down to this story has always been Sami and Jay's story. It's never been Sami and Roman's story. Sami, and someone on Twitter mentioned this, and they're so right. He's not Sami Reigns. That's not he is Sami Uso, is what they call him. It's always been about those two and him being one of the brothers of the group. Roman Reigns is like, do you want to be the tribal chief? He kind of brings like Sami into his thing. It's always been about Sami and Jay. Jay hating him and wanting to push him out, and kind of taking Jay's spot as the right-hand man, and then Jay finally accepting him. From the beginning, it was a Sami and Jay story. It should end as a Sami and Jay story. I understand how over he is and everything. From the beginning, this is what it was. They told you what it was. There's been ups, downs, everything else. He's super over. I get it. It's between Sami and Jay.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to strike when the iron's hot. And this is one of those situations where it's like, yes, we said on the show, I was like, the WrestleMania match to make is the Usos versus Owens and Zayn. Give me a ladder. Let them kill each other.
Yep.
The problem now is that Sami's so over that it's going to overshadow Cody and Roman. Cody's in a tough spot. And it's through no fault of his own. Him getting hurt kind of aided to this. Him getting hurt kind of also helped it, right? Because I think he would have staled out before the Royal Rumble if he was still around. But Sami's like nuclear right now. And that was always the story, but the story is now becoming like, well, if you're going to beat Roman, you got to be super over.
Yeah.
And Sami's never held this title. And I know this is like Cody's thing, but there's a chance. This is why they have to keep Sami out of the Royal Rumble if Cody's going to win. Because if you eliminate Sami, that crowd's going to shit all over the Royal Rumble.
No, if the right person eliminates Sami, it's fine.
I don't know.
If Sami and Solo, say your final three, and damn, we're getting into the Rumble. But whatever. If your final three is Sami, Solo, and Cody, Sami looks at Solo like, yo, we're getting him out of here. And Solo spikes Sami and throws Sami out.
That messes up the story.
Sami, for whatever happened before in the Roman match, maybe he gave Sami something, Sami fucked up. Roman got in his ear and was like, yo, take him out. Cool. Sami's out of there. Roman made the call. Cody eliminates Solo. Cody has to go through Solo if he's getting to Roman, no matter what. Because that's the only thing that's going to establish him as a main credible person between Rumble and Mania. You've protected Solo. He is so great, whooping everyone's ass. He is the final level to get to Roman. The feud for Cody, if he wins, has to be Solo Sikoa, no matter how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
He has to eliminate Solo.
We'll go more in depth in the Royal Rumble. I don't know. Sometimes you got to listen to the crowd. Like whatever they're planning for Cody better be good.
Yeah.
Because to insert Cody into this bloodline thing, because look, the bloodline doesn't really include anybody else outside of the bloodline. Like Kevin Owens is an extension of Sami. Cody's like out there. Mm-hmm. And if you throw him in there, he's still not part. Like the bigger story is still Sami and the bloodline.
Yep.
So they got a lot of work to do. I'm not saying they can't pull it off, but if there was a time to pivot, I'm kind of like, you might want to do it now.
You could pivot, but if you're going with Cody, it has to be Cody and Solo. Solo is his entrant into that storyline. Because Solo doesn't have a feud. He just fucks everybody up.
I don't want to see Cody and Solo, to be honest with you.
Oh, he has to wrestle Solo at
I don't want Solo
Elimination
to lose.
Chamber. No one does, but if you're going to build Cody, that's the only way.
There's other ways, but I don't want Solo.
No, nothing else that makes him instantly credible.
Yeah, but then you sacrifice Solo when you don't need to. But we'll get there.
Yes, Solo got to lose sooner or later. But no, that was Raw 30, and then they ended up having time troubles and cutting the women's cage match.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
I'd like to see that rebooked.
Yeah,
Maybe next Monday.
I don't know.
Because the big appeal was there hasn't been a women's cage match on Raw in 19 years.
Yeah, of all the things that get cut, though, like, listen,
You can't have a short cage match.
I love the Street Profits and Seth Rollins, but that match didn't need to be 2 segments long.
Yeah.
That 6-man tag didn't need to be 2 segments long. There's other corners to cut, and that's why the optics of it were so bad. Like, and then you obviously had, Nikki and Brie Bella saying their piece on social media, and part of it is blind spots. The other part of it is a history. There's this history of women in pro wrestling, well, in the WWE specifically. So when something like this happens, you have this big annual show, and the one match you cut is a steel cage match between 2 of your biggest women's stars. And the match that I just mentioned was kind of a throwaway match. You could have cut that match down and let those women rock in that steel cage match. It's kind of fucked up. So they got to find a way to fix it. But that ship is sailed. Some people are already just like, fuck them. They don't care about the women like that. They'll always feel that way.
Yeah, I think you had another women's segment, the Charlotte one, probably, and Bianca one.
I didn't need that at all.
No, I didn't need the match.
Like Sonya Deville just gets nerfed again?
Yeah, so what? She's really not credible for Charlotte.
No, she's not credible at all.
No, so it's just it's weird. I could have went without that match. Even if you have a Charlotte Bianca
I could have went without Bianca and Charlotte being chummy in the ring.
Yeah.
That moment I was like, ugh, this is gross.
Yeah, it wasn't really chummy. It was kind of like a caddish.
Yeah, no, but look, before I said the Mania match to make is Bianca and Charlotte because it's the only horsewoman that Bianca hasn't knocked off. But now we got goody two-shoes Charlotte out here, and it's like, I don't want this.
Bianca fell for it. She had a side eye towards her the whole time.
Yeah, well, they ain't working each other at Mania, so.
No, but it's one of those things where I didn't need that match. It probably could have went in there. But you can't have short cage matches.
No.
So you looked at it, and I was like, if we're going to have this cage match, it has to be a banger, and they got to get like 20 minutes. We can cut and trim a lot of stuff, but can you trim 20 minutes off of everything? And it was like, probably not. Do we want to give them a 10-minute cage match? People are going to shit on us. So you just kind of got to cut the cage match. It was the biggest amount of time, and then it allows you to extend everything else. It's just television-wise. It's just like, yo, we can change 5 things to accommodate one, or we can change one thing and then just extend everything else. Like, it just makes sense. I just want to still see the match.
Yeah, I think we all do.
So if they have a moment and a spot at the Royal Rumble, and Becky's like, oh, you thought this was over? We're going to run this back. So whether it should be on Raw to give it that same 19 years since thing. They should just find a way to run that back there. It's time to get into the Rumble, though. I don't even know what number Royal Rumble this is. Do they number these? It's been around for a while. I think 90.
This is
1990?
No, 87 or 88.
88.
88. This is 25 years.
88.
35 years. 35 years.
35 years. Yeah.
35th Royal Rumble.
Yeah. So it's a nice, solid number behind it. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, first winner ever.
Yeah, that was like they did it, and it was just like, oh, like historically speaking, Hacksaw Jim Duggan winning the Royal Rumble is like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then it was like, let's retcon all that and let's make it mean something. And they started making it was Hogan and Flair and so on and so forth. But Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It's like the worst Trivial Pursuit question ever. Like, yeah, as a kid now, who won the first Royal Rumble? They'll be like, Ric Flair. No, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Who?
I used to love Hacksaw Jim Duggan, though. 2x4.
I was not a fan.
Oh, no.
Nah.
He was so goofy.
I didn't
like Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I was like, this is so stupid. Like, as a kid, I was like, he's got a block of wood. Like, of all the things he's going to
beat the shit out of somebody with a block of wood.
No, but it was like, I remember
Yes,
Hacksaw
he
Jim
did
Duggan,
the
like
walk.
Jake the Snake, and I was like, yeah, why don't you just beat the snake with the wood?
That makes sense.
He didn't, though.
No.
And I hated his
Occasionally
finisher.
he'll hit people with
The 3-point stance, like shoulder tackle. Like,
Oh,
stop.
he did do the 3-point stance.
Cut that shit out. And he won the Royal Rumble? Yeah, man.
Not a Hacksaw Jim Duggan fan. All right. So this year definitely be better than that. Let's go through the card, and we'll give our thoughts and everything on the entire Royal Rumble. Let's start Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss.
Oh, they've put them, to me, this is rock and hard place booking. Because I say it every week. The Uncle Howdy Bray, it's losing steam. It's getting to the point where if they don't nail this, it's
After Raw 30, it's losing steam?
yes.
That Taker moment
That was
with
a Taker
LA
moment.
Knight, incredible.
It was
not.
moment.
It was a
No,
Bray moment.
The Uncle Howdy thing is
The
losing.
passing the torch. Bray came out,
Dog,
huge pop.
stop. The Uncle Howdy thing is really becoming a sore spot in here because you have to reveal him sooner or later.
Sooner or later.
And he has to be part of whatever it is.
Yes.
And then the bell has to ring. Because at first I thought it was just going to be a split personality. Now he's an actual character.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of. I don't like.
I'm not sure if the character has to wrestle. Bray has to wrestle.
I mean, they've had Uncle Howdy hit people with like. First of all, Uncle Howdy's a stupid name, but that's neither here nor there right now. The mask looks ridiculous.
I like the mask.
Of course you do. I don't. I'm not a fan of this like Alexa Bliss involvement right now
It's a little weird.
because you got to fix what happened with you and Bray Wyatt a few years ago at WrestleMania for this to work. But then the other part is, if you're going to get like this evil edge back and then you're just going to lose to Bianca, whatever you were supposed to be, it's kind of already got nerfed. The only way they can really get out of this is if she gets DQ'd or I don't know what they have to be really creative with this. And then the other part is, as much as Alexa is a good character wrestler, when you stand her next to Bianca and watch them work, there's like two different levels of worker here. Like Bianca's physical and strong and athletic. Not to say that Alexa's not a good wrestler, but her offense just doesn't look like it can do anything to Bianca. So they have this is a hard match for me to watch.
Hence the mythical shit, right? Like it gives her that different suspending belief. But the key is that she hasn't joined Uncle Howdy yet. She's having this like identity crisis.
You can't just get rid of it after this.
No, I'm not saying you get rid of it. I'm saying you can lose because you're not with Uncle Howdy yet. You're not full mythical, magical, blah, blah, blah.
So is Uncle Howdy the leader of this shit?
Yeah, of course. He's the puppet master.
I don't like this.
We're back in the
Carry
front
on.
house, so they're trying to fix Bray, which means we're probably going to get the Fiend, which, cool. That's how that
I
got to
don't know
roll,
if
right?
Well,
And
whatever.
like Uncle Howdy, it seems like his master plan is to make sure people remember how powerful they were when they were dark. So with Alexa as well, like, yo, you were so great as that character. Bring the darkness back out. Bray, I gave you Sister Abigail to bring the darkness back out of you. We don't like this. I'm thankful to be back shit. Come back to the funhouse. Like, it should end in Uncle Howdy being revealed as the person who created the funhouse. He created all these characters. He's the reason why they're so evil. He unlocked this evilness in them. And then you bring in maybe some other people around it and give him a stable.
I don't want.
He's just a puppet master behind it.
I don't want to stay.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. That's where it's
What
gonna go.
I'm- That's why I'm saying it. Cole, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you go here real quick. If Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy, like
They're
once-
never gonna call him Bo Dallas.
but we are, because we'll know who it is. Once the veil gets lifted, like then the story really begins. Like they've been treading water since Extreme Rules with this, and it was entertaining at first, but as the weeks go by, I'm like, where are we going with this? So now you have a lights out match sponsored by Mountain Dew. You
I
gotta
try that.
You gotta stick the landing. If you mess up this landing, you're gonna blow it, because every time you do something with Bray, it's built around story and not in ring. And if the match stinks, like the House of Horrors match at WrestleMania, like if it ends up being a stinker, it blows up this entire story.
Sure, but we've also seen the him and Cena match that didn't end up being a stinker. Like that's just it is what
the WrestleMania cinematic match.
Yeah,
that doesn't count.
I'm just saying it is what it is with him. He brings this aspect to the company.
Yeah,
This is why he didn't hit the indies and like go anywhere like crazy, because you need this insane production value behind this character. What he is a long-term storytelling character. You don't rush him into shit like McMahon did, because you're going to blow it by going too fast. And there's like, what else is there?
Wait, there's a difference between long-term storytelling and treading water. Like in a show that you was like, they could have ended this at episode 10 and now I got 5 more episodes to watch.
Yeah.
I'm treading water. I feel like they've reached the part where it's like, you got to wrestle sooner or later. And at first it was cool, but now it's like, I don't know. Cole, what are your thoughts? Well, first of all, Bianca Belair wins. She's not losing. to
No,
Alexa
she's
Bliss.
winning. And I think it reminds Alexa. Alexa fully breaks. Maybe beats her up afterwards and goes
Dude,
full Uncle Howdy.
To be clear, I didn't like Alexa in this ever. So
They
bringing
gotta
it back,
explain the her and Bray melt face.
I didn't like it when it started. I didn't like it when it ended. I don't like it starting again. So I have to preface it with all that. I never liked it. So them going back to it, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Cole, what are your thoughts on the match and this
Yeah.
everything?
I think as far as and this hovers over the entire pay-per-view, because obviously we have the pitch black match and Alexa Bliss here going against Bianca. I think with any of these stories with Bray, I think where it gets lost sometimes is it's the lack of, or at least the understanding of the stakes that are at play here. Like, what is at stake? Like, what is this faction going to do, right? What is their purpose? What is Alexa going into that faction? You know, the who, what, where, and why. There's a lot of that stuff that is in such a gray area, and I feel like we've been like stalling to get to this point so that we would hopefully get a payoff for some of this stuff towards WrestleMania. But I think that's what's really hurt the story is we introduced a lot of elements, and before we can even get the ball rolling, we don't know what the purpose is. They're just a mystery, right? And at some point, like when that starts, it's like, ooh, who is this? What is this mystery? And like, what is this? I don't know what this is. This mystical figure, Uncle Howdy. What is he? You can only get away with that for so long before your audience starts going, okay, but why? What's going on? What's the point of this? So I think that's why a lot of this has lost steam. And I think I'm really hoping that throughout this pay-per-view, since really this part of the story is going to get 2 matches, that we're going to see some real progress here and really understand who is Uncle Howdy, what's the purpose of Uncle Howdy, does he control the Firefly Fun House, does Alexa Bliss crack and join, this faction? What are the answers there? Either way, whatever the resolution is or the story development here is for Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss and what's going on here, I think Bianca still wins this match, but this story has to have some kind of spark here. We're missing the spark. Hopefully we get it here. We need a lot of answers on Saturday. Hopefully we're going to get them.
So now, what do we get in the pitch black match besides Endless Mountain Dew?
That's what I would like. Skip Bayless would love some Diet Mountain Dew.
Yes, he would. Baja Blast, the goat flavor of Mountain Dew.
Yes. Once upon a time, only at Taco Bell.
Only at Taco Bell. No, it don't hit the same out the bottle. You got to get it from the fountain at Taco Bell.
Yeah, so that's what we need. We need a Taco Bell in the pitch black match, and they need to wrestle at Taco Bell. I don't know, man.
And that's good. At least we don't know.
Yeah, I know, but historically speaking, sometimes these don't end up well because we get these very quirky matches with Bray Wyatt and they don't turn out to be so great. But it's like this. I keep saying this. LA Knight is the biggest star coming out of this situation. Like, he's over right now.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you. It's great, but I guess he's supposed to lose here unless Uncle Howdy costs Bray because Bray won't go to the dark side in the pitch black. I don't know. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say LA Knight wins because Bray won't commit to doing whatever heinous act you do in a pitch black match.
Yes. I mean, you have to see the people. So sooner or later, we got to figure out how this pitch black match isn't going to be pitch black. So maybe the lights go on and off.
Great, epilepsy.
Yeah. Fan warning beforehand. I don't know how to swing it, but I think that's like the natural progression of it. But I think, unfortunately for you, we're going to get more convoluted more than we're going to get answers.
Well, that's bad.
I think they bring in a tag team. What's his face from ROH is still teasing it. The dude with the locks. He was very mythical himself. Forgot his name. Vincent. There's Vincent and another dude.
Stop.
I think we get more of a Wyatt family vibes. So I think Bray.
You can never try to even, like, especially with
Brody gone. I understand.
Like, you can't even touch that.
No, but I think Bray can have another faction.
Wow.
Right. I don't think that's the end all be all of factions. I don't think you call them the Wyatt family, obviously. But I think that's where we go. So this pitch black stuff is really just going to end up with the lights cutting on and all 3 of them being there. Maybe an evil Alexa, depending on where it is on the card. But they're all in there with LA Knight, and LA Knight loses because of that. And I don't even know how you win. I don't know if you win by pinfall submission. They may just abduct LA Knight and bounce, and that'll be the end of the match. It might just end on a cliffhanger.
So the question now becomes, and then Cole gets your prediction. If something similar to your scenario plays out, it just makes LA Knight a bigger babyface.
Yeah, LA Knight's over. He's a made man.
But he's a heel.
Sure. I don't know what he is in this. He is made however you want to go. The catchphrase is money. He's money. Maybe his next feud determines that. He's going to come out of this looking great, no matter what you do with Bray. There's only one possible loser in this whole scenario. Bray. It's not Alexa, because really, she's just toiling about. Since losing the doll and the character, she's been a tag team champion, but Asuka is really the carrier of that crew. And they were both under Bianca. So she hasn't sniffed the main card without this character since. Alexa can only be boosted in this scenario or be in her same exact spot. The only one it hurts is Bray Wyatt. He's the only possible loser here. LA Knight's going to be fine. The catchphrase is crazy over. He's done great in this feud. His next feud is going to be amazing. Wherever you want to go. I'd love to see him versus Gunther. If he is a babyface or a tweener, Gunther needs something going into Mania. if you don't give him like, some like a big bat or something. But him, LA Knight chop him down on the mid card. On the mic,
No.
put it there. Oh, Gunther hates people who have catchphrases and all this shit.
No.
Slide him right in there. It'd be fun. LA Knight's going to be great leaving this. Bray Wyatt's the one where it's like, all right, what are we doing? And you got to develop some sort of feud for him going into Mania, unless he fights Uncle Howdy.
Oh, gross. Anyway, Cole.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's got to be the ending to this is going to be something convoluted, and again, we don't really know what a Mountain Dew pitch black that is matchup really like. What are the rules? Like, how does one win? Is it pinfall and submission? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I need some. Hold on. Let me quench my thirst here real quick.
Look at
Is he drinking a Mountain Dew?
I think he's drinking a Mountain Dew pitch
taste.
black. Like,
That pitch black taste. You know what? I'm inspired. This is going to be a great match. That's all I could say because the power of Mountain Dew pitch black.
Are you pandering for the sponsor?
yeah. Somehow they sponsored Cole in the background.
Of our own show.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is not an ad. Anyways, yeah, I've got nothing.
How
I really
did
just
that
wanted to
taste,
drink
though?
some of this. It's not bad. It's it's soda. It's sugary berry something. I don't know. It kind of tastes like grape soda. It's okay.
Oh, that's not
the
bad.
worst.
I'm a
but
sucker
anyways,
for
I
a
think
grape soda.
so. Here's so two things. I think one, LA Knight like ends up getting out of this without really losing. Like if anything, it's gonna be Bray loses via DQ, but we advance his story somehow, some way. Again, I don't know what it is because I don't know why they're here. I don't know what Uncle Howdy's goal is. But two things. One, it's sponsored by Mountain Dew. So really what there should be is there should be a Twitch stream that starts right as this match starts. And it's just Uncle Howdy with a headset just watching the match. That's it. And just like really just, get that gamer angle in there. And two, is there any chance this is a cinematic match?
No. Here's why.
No.
You can't do a cinematic match with like 50,000 people in the crowd. Remember, keep in mind, cinematic match with Cena happened because Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Every Bray Wyatt match that's had these weird stipulations has been in front of a crowd has stunk.
No, I mean, him and Danielson.
But there was no stipulation. It was a strap match.
A strap match.
But that's a normal. I'm talking about the wacky shit.
Oh, the wacky shit. Yeah, I don't know.
You can't do it. You can't
him
do
versus Orton on the farm. Was that a pay-per-view or a Monday Night Raw?
I don't
where
know.
he burned down the shit.
But that sucked too.
That was better than the maggots on the mat.
But it still sucked.
It wasn't great.
So I'm like, I think of the Royal Rumble, if you want to take the fans out of the show, do a cinematic match for like 20 minutes and have them sitting there in a stadium watching a Jumbotron for a match they don't understand. I think it's very dangerous to do cinematic in an arena full of people.
Yeah. Even if it's like half, because I've seen them do like half cinematic matches and then you cut back and like they start coming down to the ring.
You could get away with that. Like when Darby, well, no, there was, we were in the pandemic with Darby and Sting, right?
Darby and Sting was different. But then they had like a ring like in the warehouse.
Yeah.
No, but I've seen like people start back, like the cinematics backstage, and then it ends up leading them down the ramp.
That makes sense.
Like you end in the ring and kind of get people like more involved again.
You just can't do a full cinematic.
No, but if it's pitch black, you can start at pitch black. Like, it was an empty arena, but like Mankind, Rock,
yeah,
where you get like different places. Like you can do some shit in the back. Impact just had it. It was like a pitch black match. It wasn't sponsored by Mountain Dew, but it was Sami versus Moose.
But Impact, much smaller venue, easier to get away with this stuff. They're doing it. They're doing the Alamo Dome. Where are they doing? Alamo Dome. How many people is that place?
Shit ton.
Like a lot.
A shit ton.
And if you've ever been to a live event in a very big arena or stadium, you can't hear nothing.
Nothing. Tunes out so quick.
So if I'm like sitting in section 400 in the nosebleeds, I'm trying to squint my eyes. Look, you're going to take everybody out of the match. So no, this should not be a cinematic match.
Even though I've never watched one in a dome, I've only had open air, and the
sound travels up. You can't hear anything.
But in the dome, it might just echo back down. I'm not sure how that works.
We didn't hear, like when we went to SummerSlam at Allegiant, it was very hard to hear.
Yeah,
backstage stuff. So all that to say is, to answer your question, Cole, I don't think so.
No one knows how this goes. That's one thing we know that no one knows. And then Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens.
I mean, Roman's got to win. The story is the story, not the winner of this match. How does Sami get involved? How does the bloodline get involved? Is this the proper steps of getting Sami and Kevin back together? Because now the real story has become, because if we all think it's Sami and Kevin getting back together, it is that, what is the tipping point for these two? One of the questions that I had, and I wasn't necessarily sure of, was like, they've been getting physical with each other a lot. And I thought they would keep away from each other because of the respect, but then I was like, well, they beat the shit out of each other for years, so why not, right? So what is the tipping point? Is it Kevin's getting destroyed and then Sami can't stomach it anymore? Is it Sami blowing the match for Roman or nearly blowing the match for Roman? That's the story, and I don't know how it comes about, but yeah, Roman's got to win. He has to. But Kevin has to come out looking great, and the foundation has to be laid because now we're 3 months away from WrestleMania. We got to start laying the foundation, but we got to do it very carefully because 3 months is still a long time to get to Mania. And then, are they still doing Elimination Chamber?
Yes.
For what?
Women's title shot for the other one.
Okay. So the men's Elimination Chamber, because it has no point.
No, I don't know what a men's Elimination Chamber will look like. I know one year they did tag.
Yeah, I don't want that. There's too many people stuck in them little pods. It looks stupid.
It was a little weird, but Kofi crushed it that year, by the way. Like that was a fun, like, New Day had like a great match in there. That could be a way to do like Owens and Zayn getting a title shot, even though I don't think you need to explain it that way. Yeah, but I think the women's match is really what carries that Elimination Chamber, which could throw a curve in my prediction for the women's Royal Rumble, because now where, in my mind, one person should win it, there's a whole nother avenue for that person to get in. So maybe a better avenue?
I don't know. All that to say is Roman wins, LOL, and then we try to figure out how this is going to bring Sami and Kevin back together, because it feels obvious. I don't think this is one of those things, like Tony Khan does this very well. Tony's like, this is what y'all want. I'm not going to hide it for too long.
That's it.
We're just going to get there. WWE can try to get cute with it. They don't really need to. They've done a good job thus far. I just want to see how they progress the story now.
Cool.
Yeah, what is Sammy's test? That is the big question. And I wonder if it's going to happen during the match. Are we going to have a wonky finish? I don't anticipate that. I think Roman eventually wins. But, is it going to be a case of, all right, Sami now beat the shit out of Kevin. We've already kind of done that. Does Sami have to pull some kind of special diversion to help him win? I mean, Roman's won plenty of different ways by getting plenty of different help from the Usos, Solo Sikoa. So I would anticipate a finish similar in that vein. But I wonder, like, what is the post-match going to look like? And because I don't think it just ends with Roman Reigns winning. I think he's going to probably grab a mic and start yelling at Sami for a little bit. But I don't think that's where Sami's story ends on this night.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, if there was ever a time to really challenge this situation, I don't know if you do it, but what means more to Kevin Owens than anything else?
Title. He's a prize fighter.
No, his son.
Okay.
Owen. Could there be something involving Kevin's family at some point? Because Sami's totally fine beating the shit out of Kevin Owens. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
But is there a way, like, to integrate Owen or into this story? Because there's got to be a bridge too far that Sami can't cross. Beating up Kevin's easy. Messing with the kid is not. And I know it's like family stuff gets really strange in pro wrestling sometimes, but sometimes it works.
No, 100% could. You know where Elimination Chamber is?
Where, Canada?
Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So it's very possible.
Very interesting.
That the hometown of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn being the next pay-per-view location could bring his family into question.
I mean,
it is very, very possible.
That is, if it's an Elimination Chamber in Montreal, that would have to be where, if it's a tag match with the Usos, it has to be right there. Like, that's because there will be no bigger pop than Kevin and Sami getting back together at Elimination Chamber.
No. Whatever you do with Sami, it happens there.
Yep.
Because that crowd is going nuts.
Oh, they're gonna lose it.
Yeah,
whatever you
whatever happens in any of that match, just high voltage everywhere. It's just going to be nuts if it's in Montreal and the family's involved. I know the story doesn't end here. I'm so interested to see
Wow.
what the test is and where it goes.
That means Montreal Elimination Chamber is the most significant location as a character since CM Punk wrestling Cena at Money in the Bank in Chicago.
Ooh.
These things happen.
Could be.
Like,
Yeah.
in terms of like the perfect storm,
Yes.
it's like they landed on Money in the Bank being in Chicago for Punk's last match. They're landing on Elimination Chamber. Like, Vince would have completely missed this.
And we'll get to the Rumble. But if Cody wins and is going chasing Roman Reigns, they might boo in the high L in Montreal.
Oh, they would murder him. But
the crowd might be like, fuck
But
you, Cody.
Chicago
Go
became
crazy.
its own character in Punk versus Cena. Like, Montreal would be its own character if Owens and Zayn are involved.
If you get Owens and Zayn back together on some like hug shit
Oh,
in front of that Montreal crowd,
it's gonna be tears.
they're like insane.
Wee wee.
That it's. By the way, Cole has an amazing Montreal accent when he wants to break it out. His Canadian accents are phenomenal. But yeah,
French
it's,
Canadian.
it's couldn't script it any better.
No.
So that's why they have a pay-per-view. I don't know who's going to be in the chambers, but I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you the main event is going to involve Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns in some capacity.
I mean, there's always the possibility, as we start talking about, now we're going to talk about the Royal Rumbles, there's always the possibility that WrestleMania could end up being a triple threat with Cody and Sami against Roman.
Could?
But Cody's getting nerfed by the crowd in that situation.
Horrible. I would say, one, Sami Zayn's going to fuck up before he even gets to this final challenge on Saturday. His other challenge is to stay away on Friday.
Yeah.
There's zero chance he stays away. Kevin Owens going against Solo Sikoa. Solo's going to try to kill him before he gets to Roman. So I think Sami comes out, maybe tries to spare Kevin, and like the eyes are there again, right? Then Saturday, he has a final challenge. I think he fucks that up some form or fashion. I think the number one match coming out of Saturday for me, I think Roman retains.
Yeah.
Maybe they try to beat the shit out of Kevin even more, all of them. Sami stops him. I think Sami's still borderline with them. I think the main event for Elimination Chamber doesn't involve Roman in ring at all. I think he says, you know what, Sami? I told you had one more challenge after everything plays out on Saturday. You're the one to take out Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, one-on-one main event in Montreal.
That's kind of where I figured that that challenge
And then the
would be.
bloodline fucks them both up in the main event.
Very possible. But I figured at some point, because the best thing about Sami and Kevin is they're one-on-one matches.
100%.
And while it's like we've had them, but we haven't had them like PWG, Ring of Honor.
They gotta
Like,
damn near kill each other for
We
the
haven't had
respect to
that.
come back.
Yeah.
Love to come back. And Roman setting it all up and only like beating each other damn near death, only to be like, we're jumping both of y'all in front of
happen.
Montreal.
then
You're printing money. Those two headline in Montreal against each other.
the only problem, the only issue now is like when you have these theme pay-per-views, because now your main event is not an Elimination Chamber match.
Yep.
But I'm sure
As long as you only have one, you don't need a men's and women's. If you just do the women's, open with the chamber, normal pay-per-view, main event with this, I'd be okay.
you could probably get away with it. All right, let's do these Royal Rumbles.
Women's Royal Rumble match up first.
Do they have 30 women?
30 women.
Do they have 30 women?
Every year we ask the same question.
Yeah, we do.
Honestly, they're closer now than they ever have been with any of
before.
these rumbles. Last year, it was like, who the hell's going to be in this thing? Like, because I mean, now that Triple H has brought so many people back from NXT, like he really has kind of filled out that roster a little bit for a women's Royal Rumble, and doesn't have to rely as much on, you know, the women of the past coming through. I'm sure we'll still have some of those. You know, we could have a Michelle McCool spot again. We could have, will Molly Holly show up again? Probably. I don't know.
Every time.
Every time.
Is Ronda going to be in the Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Oh, good question.
Who eliminates Ronda?
It's a very good question.
Ronda ain't winning this shit.
No.
She won it last year.
I don't need this.
Yeah. Nah. If I had to pick the person to eliminate Ronda,
Who
and
gets
stop
the
her
point
from
at the time?
pointing, I think Liv Morgan eliminates Ronda
Ew.
because of how that angle kind of like finished off, and it was unfinished, right? Like Charlotte came out and did the dirty work,
That's finished enough for me.
of course.
I kind of
But-
wish it was.
But you give Liv that like that pop. You give Liv that like, okay, you feel good because you finally got your comeuppance, and it doesn't hurt Ronda. It doesn't matter at all. But I think the crowd would be like, oh, finally she got one over on Ronda. Ronda beat the shit out of her for so long.
Anyway,
So Liv Morgan would be that. To streamline the process of our predictions here, we'll keep it pretty simple. Let's go around the horn real quick. Women's Royal Rumble. Who is like the main surprise entrant? If you had to pick one, there would be multiple, right? Like there's not enough women. But if you had to pick one that, listen, staking my claim. This woman's coming out. She's getting a pop. Not announced yet. There's only 7 women announced. Right?
yeah,
But
you got
regardless.
23. It'll be Beth Phoenix. Like Beth Phoenix is the most obvious person to be in this Royal Rumble but then it's like, damn, it's the whole Rhea Ripley thing all over again.
What do you do with Rhea?
Right. Because you got involved with
and
Beth.
Rhea,
Yeah, I know, but Beth, I still think Beth has to come back.
you have
Right?
an elimination chamber.
Yeah,
Stick
you do. So,
Beth in the elimination.
you want to know my wild card for the return? People are gonna be like, yeah, right. I'm gonna be like, yeah, right. It's not Mercedes. It's not Naomi. Mandy Rose.
Hey,
Whoa!
hey,
It's like, oh, we just
Keep
did.
an eye. If that OnlyFans got deleted,
boy.
Oh, hey, we just did
no,
Raw
no,
Triple
she
X.
just did a $1 million Mandy.
We just did Raw Triple X. We can bring you back.
Yep. Nah, listen, just don't show a nipple and you fine.
Yeah, but the winner is Rhea Ripley, because I know we got to get through this. The winner is Rhea Ripley. Beth Phoenix definitely comes back, and I don't know what else is going to be good about.
All right, I will go different picks for the sake of being different.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with your winner overall. One person I see coming back, that's not Beth Phoenix. And I could easily pick Naomi because I think she's coming back, but whatever. I think Nia Jax comes back.
Mm.
So I think we get Nia return. I'm not plugging her into the bloodline by any means or anything like that. I just think they use her as a hand. She hasn't done shit else. I think we see the return of Nia Jax in the Women's Rumble. And then I think Rhea Ripley would also win. But you know what? We have the Elimination Chamber. And you can look really strong in the Elimination Chamber by beating the shit out of everyone else. And to me, it might be more impressive than what you can do in a Rumble.
Shayna Baszler nerfed the Elimination Chamber. You see where she's at today.
True, but this is a different person. Different person in charge. Different build to get there.
Yeah.
Way different build to get there. Rhea's been nerfing men. Like, you can go in the chamber and whoop ass. So I would say devil's advocate winner here, just because I'm trying to go through everything, and Bianca needs a good foil going into Mania. Give me the trick finish. 2 people, same time.
That's risky.
oh God,
Always risky. I mean, I got to book something else. You took the logical candidate. This is where you give me Becky and Bayley, both eliminating each other same time. And these 3 women have been revolving around each other on the Raw roster anyway. You give me a triple threat between the 3 at Mania.
Yeah, no thanks.
And Rhea goes after Charlotte. Fuck it. Nurse Charlotte. Because Charlotte did her dirty when she won.
Yeah.
You go after Charlotte. I don't want to see her go against Bianca.
Real quick, if Ronda was in a good spot, I would like Ronda to win this and get beat up by Bianca at WrestleMania.
Sure.
But I don't want Ronda to win this. Let's just catch that and win. Also, if Naomi was to return, she'd have to win. I do not want it. She can't come back and lose. That crowd would lose their shit.
Yeah. Her winning versus Charlotte,
Huge.
huge.
So if Naomi were to come back, she has to win.
I would love that. Cole.
yeah, I think I'll play devil's advocate as well, and go with an albeit I think a safe option. I think Becky will win this. I think you could easily have it be between her and Bayley, and that continues their story, and then maybe we could do Becky Charlotte at Mania. We've already seen Becky and Bianca at Mania, and obviously if Becky and Charlotte were there, but Ronda was also there, so maybe a straight one-on-one contest gets it done.
I like that because Charlotte never
mostly
got
this-
pinned.
And mostly this is because like Rhea seems like she should be the obvious one, but like Beth Phoenix comes out there and like hit the code red. That's a feud, that's got to happen. You've got to have some kind of payout there. They literally smash her with a chair. So I think like that doesn't need a title. So I don't think Rhea is necessarily as obvious as a lot of people are making it. That said, if she did win it, I'd be quite happy for her. So, and then for surprise entrances, I think, I think some people are certainly wondering as far as Mr. Independent Wrestling himself, Mr. Matt Cardona, if he's ever going to show back up in WWE, especially because he posts pictures of Zack Ryder all the time. And it's not going to be Matt Cardona, but it is going to be Chelsea Green. I think Chelsea Green is going to show up in this Rumble. There's already the rumors that she's already signed a contract, so might be cheating there a little bit, but I think Chelsea Green is one to look out for. And they just put the title back on Mickey and Impact. Why don't we get another Mickey pop with the knockouts?
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. Run it back. That we know none of us remember that Rumble, and that was like the best part of like either of those Rumbles was her coming out to the big pop and coming out to Hardcore Country. Roll it back. That Rumble doesn't like we deleted that from our memory. So let's get the moment.
Dre is the king of honorable mentions. My honorable mention would be Billy Kay. I miss the Iconics. Those are my chicks. Obviously, just had a baby.
The shit with the resume was so goddamn good.
Oh, but Billy Kay and on the mic and the resume, she can hold it down for the Iconics until they're full strength. I need them in the women's tag division. Do right by them. The Iconics are incredible.
Ooh, if there's one thing that Hunter is completely whiffed on is the women's tag division, it just kind of went up in smoke again.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep it moving.
Men's Royal Rumble match.
Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes.
What number does Cody Rhodes come out at? Let's start there.
If it's 1, I will turn the TV off. If Cody Rhodes is the number 1.
Goes the distance?
Yeah, I don't want that. I feel like it would be the most egotistical, like,
really?
Cody wrote it into his contract thing. I don't want it.
Off the injury.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Like, I think there's a delicate balance between fans wanting Cody and then Cody wanting to force his way into this. We all kind of figure that Cody came back to WWE knowing he's getting his hands back on the title. If he goes bell to bell at the Royal Rumble, it starts to become narcissistic and egregious. And again, with Sami not involved in this, the fans are going to revolt. It's not, you know this more than anybody, Kel. It's not hard to turn on Cody Rhodes.
I do it daily.
Yeah.
So Kel loves Cody Rhodes.
But it's like
long-standing rivalry between us two.
So you got to be careful with him. Because even as much as people pop for Cody against Seth, like Seth was a heel, a fantastic heel at that. If Cody and Roman work Mania and you do this wrong, fans are going to cheer for Roman and not Cody.
Yep.
And even me, I wouldn't mind if these two go at it and Roman just beats Cody. I don't mind this. Cody did a good job in AEW on his way out. Like every time you thought Cody was going to win, he lost.
Yep.
He did a very good job with that.
Money is in the losing.
He's the obvious answer to win the Royal Rumble. I just don't want
it. Yeah. I'm with you. I wouldn't mind seeing Cody win it, lose to Roman, chase till SummerSlam.
Yeah, or
money is in the losing.
Or do something else.
Yeah.
And then get his way back to Roman.
Because you gotta build again that baby face people behind you, right? It's the entitlement. People expect you to win. Roman beats you, continues the reign, and you chase. It wouldn't bother me at all.
And more important, this is the most important aspect of storytelling. If Cody wins now, the story ends rather than just begins. Because it's not like nobody's interested in Cody title defenses.
No.
But once Cody gets the title, it's like big, like great moment. And then you go, well, now what?
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like Austin turning heel at WrestleMania 17. And everybody was like, that was cool in the moment. But the day after, you're like, this probably wasn't a good idea.
You got to have your next huge baby face ready, or you got to have your next big bad set up.
Yeah.
And they
don't. They haven't done anything with that.
Seth, people would argue, is still there. But Seth, a baby face.
Right.
Like, so he's not set up to run it back with Cody as a first title defense. So, yeah, you're between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. Like, the money might be in him losing Mania if he wins the Rumble. The Rumble will be his pop. Mania should be the loss. SummerSlam should be the payoff.
And can I be clear? I hate that they pre-announced Cody for this. I wish.
It was the worst kept secret.
I know, but sometimes give me the surprise even though I know it's coming. Like,
unless they have bigger surprises.
Well, it's your birthday, and you're like, I know I get a surprise, but if your wife were to tell you, you're getting a surprise party, it's like, fuck you. Why would you tell me I'm getting a surprise party? This is one of those situations where it's like, I think he's coming, because he was injured. In the beginning of the injury, they kind of hypothesized that he wouldn't make it back for the Royal Rumble. If they kind of just kept Cody off the screen, like, you already sold the tickets for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
It's on Peacock, so nobody's got to buy it. And Cody shows up, you get a bigger pop. Like, people knew Triple H was coming back. People didn't know John Cena was coming back. They both got massive pops at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But I feel like doing this weekly tease kind of took the air out.
But there's, again, you're bringing the audience back into it, making them know the journey, the recovery. You could Cena it, but you could Triple H it. It works for Triple H. But it works if you have another big return.
How big can you get?
The Edge return is going to be big. The only other return, I would say, to blow Cody, like, and just be like, yo, you know what, blow up the surprise, whatever. We can announce he's coming back. Is for any reason, if they say you got Jay White and AJ Styles returns it, right? Like, I'm not saying that this is the case, but I'm just saying, like, how many unannounced returns can you have, right? So it's just like, if you got Jay White, then it's like, well, okay, he's the surprise guy. Edge is the surprise guy. We're going to beat a dead horse. Everybody's the surprise guy. So we let you know Cody is coming back. If you do it without that, it might be a little weird. But if you have another person coming back that's completely, like, out of left field, I would understand it.
It's just got to be a big enough surprise. Anyway, I still think they're going to stay the course on this and be like, well, Cody's coming back. He's kind of got to win. I just thought it would have been better if we didn't know.
Yes.
The element of surprise would have been a little bit better. But I guess we're just going to go Cody Rhodes.
I would like to play devil's advocate. I would love to be like, The Rock does show up.
Yeah, I don't want that, though.
And we get that. No, I think Cody Rhodes wins it. I love the idea of bell to bell. Like, coming off of the injury and, like, you know what? He's injured. We knew he was coming out. He drew the worst possible spot possible.
Just turn
He
him
hasn't
heel.
wrestled in 9 months. Oh, my God. There's no way he's going to do it now. Everyone's targeting the shoulder, beating the hell out of him.
Kel, do you really think if Cody entered at number 1, people would be like, is he going to do it? I think all of us would be like, he's going to win.
No, it's the theater.
It sucks
we
the
know he's going to
drama out of
win.
it.
Like, if you bring him in at 29, he's definitely going to win.
That's better.
No, because now you know, like, oh, fuck, Cody's here, it's a wrap. But if you bring him in at 1, he got to last.
Yeah, it's like you bring him in at 1 and
Stone
you're like,
Cold came in at what, like 2? Or like, fuck, man.
but
Like,
no. That was back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Nobody really went bell to bell, right? Remember, like, Rey Mysterio had it was like 58 minutes.
Yeah.
But now it's
Flair
expected.
went 3.
Yeah.
3 deep. Sean went bell to bell.
Yeah, but now it's expected. If Cody were to come back, it almost takes all the drama out of the Royal Rumble because it's not really a story of like, will he? Because we know he came back to get this title.
Drake, we already know he's going to win. We already know he's one of 2 people that can win. The only other way to build drama with it is to go bell to bell.
No, there's no drama in
Because whenever
that.
he comes in, we're like, oh, this is it. The winner's here.
Yes, he starts at 1. This is it. The winner is here.
At least
why am I watching this?
Because at least there's the intrigue of people beating the shit out of him from 1 through 30.
But he ain't feuding with none of them. That's my big.
It's a war of attrition. He's feuding with himself.
I don't care about a war of attrition. The best part about this Royal Rumble that should happen is the other stories within the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Obviously, we're probably gonna have Brock and Bobby Lashley.
Yes, we
right?
are.
Edge is gonna come back. He's probably gonna deal with Judgment Day at some point. We'll get some surprise returns. We'll get Kofi doing some crazy shit. Now him and Ricochet get to flippy dippy all around the ring and see what happens. Look, everybody's expecting Big E to come back.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
No. Threaten you with a good time. But we probably will see Gunther in this. And it'll be interesting because it should set up his next feud. That's what Royal Rumble should do. But if you put the focus on Cody so early and be like, can he do it? And then it's like, no shit, he's going to do it.
No, he's
like,
just still hanging around.
I don't want him.
Cody's still here.
Just turn him heel at that point. Just turn him heel.
You're the worst.
No, I'm the best.
Cole, Cole, how do you see this? How do you see this playing out, Cole?
I'm the man.
Also, RVD will probably show up.
Oh, that'd be. I just saw him at AVN.
Yes, he was at a porn convention.
Yeah.
Raw XXX. Why not?
Why not?
Anyway.
RVD.
Cole.
I have bad news, Dre. Cody is going to come out second because he's got to have his whole entrance. He's got the lights have got to go out.
Damn right,
Wrestling
Cole.
has more than one royal family, but Cody's not going to win. Scratch all me going, what's the test? What's the test? I know what the test is. The last 4 remaining will be Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. Yes, he will have the match and he will like show up at 29 or 30.
He's done it every year. He limps out.
You know me. I have wacky logic. Just go with it. Okay, everyone?
We need to have Cole music for like these kind of predictions because it's so fucking batshit crazy
I love
that I don't know if it's the Benny Hills theme song or whatever one you pick.
Hey now. But sometimes they're batshit, but sometimes they're pretty good.
I know, but
They're
not
good.
gonna lie.
we're
They
just
never
waiting
happen. They're
for.
good.
We're just there. That's it. We're waiting for one of them to hit like the lottery, so we can be like, yes, he got
Right.
one.
Right, just like this one's gonna hit. So
God.
Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn are the last 4 remaining. Okay. They're gonna kind of 2v2 it out for a little bit. Kevin Owens is gonna get eliminated by Solo and Sami. Yay, good job, way to go. It's gonna be Cody, Solo, and Sami. Sami will get knocked down for a little bit. Solo and Cody are gonna battle by the ropes. One of them will be over. Let's say Cody's over the rope and like, hang on, oh no, Cody's going to be eliminated. Solo's trying to get him out. And Sami flips Solo, which in turn flips Cody off to the side. And Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns comes out.
Solo's gonna kill him.
Walks up to him. Roman Reigns is they're all pleading this moment of Roman is going in there and like Roman's going to kick his ass. Oh my God. Sami's now the Rumble winner. Oh my God. Roman's just going to smile at him, hug him, be like, yes, you are the insurance. And like do that heel maneuver where it's like, hold your enemy close and like try to like keep them in the fold and like be like, yeah, this is the insurance card. This is good. But Sami's got that card now for the next 3 months to go, well, shit, I do have this match that I could pull out. And the rest of the story is him starting to turn. And I haven't figured out the rest of the part, but just give me like him and like Roman being like, yes, the test was for you to be the insurance policy that I don't have to go against a Cody Rhodes. I don't have to go against anyone who would be a real true threat to my title reign. It's someone I control. You pass the test, Sami Zayn.
So this is eerily reminiscent of Batista winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And Flair and Triple H was like, good job. Now challenge Bradshaw. And he was like, gave him the
Exactly.
thumbs down.
Thumbs down, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
They love recycling.
In a similar vein.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Hey, it's a
that would
recycling
be
story that Trips was part of.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense.
Listen, that would be a 1 belt Mania main event. So I would say Sami would probably have to go after Universal title only.
You're still trying to split these belts up from Roman.
Got to split it. Roman would keep the other.
It's not happening.
And with that case, I would go Cody, Solo Sikoa feud. Cody, Roman, WWE title, SummerSlam. Because really for Cody, the only thing that matters is the WWE title. Universal title don't do shit for him. It's a make-believe title.
They're both make-believe titles.
WWE title. Many black
Got a great
people.
point.
No, many black people held big gold, right?
That's WCW title.
Okay, we had Mark Henry hold that. We had Booker hold that. Were they WWE champions? No.
No.
It's a make-believe fucking title.
And now the title's neither of those.
No, but the WWE championship is the black normal fucking one, and then the Universal championship, some throwaway make-believe shit. So like Kevin Owens is a Universal title champion. Fucking Finn Balor is a Universal champion. None of that shit matters. The WWE championship is what matters. That's what Cody is going to get. They'd give Sami the throwaway.
You are really trying to split. This is not happening.
Oh, they're
Stop.
gonna split this shit sooner or later, by hook or by crook.
I just want to see a group chat blow up when Cody, Solo, and Kevin and Sami are the last 4 in. That's all I want to see. Let's have a Baja Blast.
Shane got to be number 5. Shane McMahon, surprise entrant.
Shane and Bad Bunny in the
5.
final 3, baby. Let's go.
All right. Enough of you two. This is silence. Let's be real here. You know who should start the Royal Rumble? It's 2 people. It's not Cody. It's Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley.
100%.
That's who should start the Royal Rumble. You just let them beat the shit out of each other. And then when anybody else comes out, they just beat them up and throw them out. So they just nerf a bunch of jobbers. Poor Ricochet, he'll be one of them. I'm sorry. They just nerf a bunch of people. And then we get the moment that would pop everybody. Around like 10, 9, Gunther comes out. Gunther, Lashley, Brock. That's my wild prediction because that would be the true heat check. Don't put Strowman in there. I know they'd be tempted to. Don't do that. Gunther, Lashley, Brock. And they're the only 3 in the ring. And now you can eliminate any of them at this point because they're just going to wear each other out. But I think that's a true heat check because if you're still angling towards Bobby and Brock at WrestleMania, which seems like what they're going to do, you should really figure out what you're going to do with Gunther because he's the scariest guy on the roster who nobody wants to mess with. And if you put him next to Brock just to see how it looks, you'll have to pay Brock probably an extra like $500,000 for him to take a chop because I'm sure he's not like, I'm not doing that shit. But if that were to happen, that's my Cole prediction. That at some point in the Royal Rumble, we get those three in the ring by themselves.
I think that's very plausible.
At that point, we do get Big E at the Royal Rumble spiritually because it will be some big meaty men slapping meat.
That's all you want.
Maybe he does
Big
commentary for that.
We got to get Big E on the phone because that'd be a moment. Be like,
odds. Quick odds. Does Goldberg show up at the Royal Rumble?
God knows. Stone Cold. I'll give you Stone Cold.
Okay.
I do think Stone Cold's going to show up.
Okay. All right. No Goldberg?
No, please. If Goldberg shows up at the Rumble, Vince McMahon is officially back in charge, and that's it. We don't need to see anything else. Fuck a
just
dirt sheet, fuck everything.
Put Bret Hart on the Titantron as soon as Goldberg just goes in, just him just going like this.
Man, it's going to be a fun Royal Rumble. To wrap all this up, we don't know what the fuck's going to happen, and that's some of the best wrestling we can have. So many different ways to go. We appreciate you all. It's been a long one. Hopefully everyone watches the Rumble. Can't wait to recap it next week when we come back. For everyone here at Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn Resort, thank you all for watching. Check us out. Social media at Corner Podcast _ Twitter, Corner Club for Life on Instagram, YouTube, The Corner Podcast, at Corner Pod on TikTok. Blowing up on TikTok now. So the youth love us as well.
Yeah, sure.
Flooding everyone with social clips. We've been teasing that for a while. We started our social clips rollout. So bigger and better Corner Podcast going into 2023. Appreciate you all. For myself, the old man Andres Hill, producer Cole, baby. Till next time, we're out.
Peace.
On the corner.